So you should get some kind of
Yep.
warning. Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us today for our second Media Library Lunch and Learn. I'm excited to introduce to you Jeff Walsh, who is from Sooth.fyi. And I discovered this product when I was at the American Association of School Librarians conference along with Bridget. And what really intrigued me about this was it kind of fits this missing gap that's really important and needed in research today, as when it's searching some really high quality places in a Google-like format. So kids are used to that. But then what it does is it delves into looking at the media bias. Does this particular site tend to lean towards the left or the right? How valid is it? How reliable is it? How is it rated by multiple quality indicators? And so it provides that information for them while also providing that great discussion as we're trying to teach kids to be good navigators of information. It's not a product that we offer right now, but it was an important enough product that we wanted to be able to make others aware of it and to get a chance to try it while it's still free for people who want to give it a try before it goes behind a little bit more of a subscription type of opportunity. Does that work,
Well
Jeff?
said. Well said. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Diana. Really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for joining, and really excited to be here and share this with you. So my name is Jeff Walsh. I am CEO and founder of Sooth.fyi, or Sooth for short. We are an internet search engine. Okay, so we are pulling live dynamic web search results, but we're doing it exclusively from thousands of the internet's most reliable and diverse sources of news, research, information, insights, and data. That's it. So we're building this for you and your students, what we generally refer to as knowledge seekers, right? This is a vertical search engine focused on knowledge. We don't have any commercial content, so no one's trying to sell you anything. We have no ads, we have no sponsored content, we have no dubious content, no chatbots, no Wikipedia. It is purely actionable insights that you and your students can immediately start consuming and reviewing and getting smarter faster. And then on top of that, we are building and have built productivity tools and transparency features that Diana referred to that get you smarter along the way and make you more efficient in your research. We have collaboration tools so you can work with others. And then last, we are working on building these amazing partnerships with premium news sources like the Des Moines Register, the Washington Post, Bloomberg, etc. That's going to give our users on-demand access to read paywalled articles when they appear as a search result on our platform. So on any other search platform, like a Google or a Bing, you click on a search result, it's behind a paywall. You can't read it unless you have a subscription. On our platform, you will be able to read it because of the partnerships we're developing with those news providers. So that is our platform in a nutshell. And as it stands in comparison to maybe some of the other tools that you're familiar with, like the databases like EBSCO, Gale, ProQuest, LexisNexis, those are very different tools. Those are archive databases, primarily composed of news, journals, and periodicals. Okay, so it's something that was published at one time, archived in a PDF format, and then shipped off to these databases, and then you can access them. And it's fairly limited. I mean, there's millions of pages of content, don't get me wrong, but it is not live dynamic web content. So you're missing out when you use those databases. You're missing out on billions of pages of really high quality content. Maybe it's coming from the Department of Energy website, right? Maybe it's coming from a think tank or an online news source that just doesn't PDF its content and doesn't have a print form. So we're giving you that in addition to a lot of the content that you can get in those databases. And then inversely, we're much more appropriate for the knowledge seeker relative to a Bing or a Google, because they don't have you in mind. They're not building their platforms for you. They're building it for the average person. So they're serving you up ads and all sorts of dubious content. And we're just removing all of that noise. Okay, so that's the platform. I'm going to get into a demo here, but just a couple of more things about us and the platform. And then at the very end, we can have some Q&A. So we've been in the market about a year, focused exclusively on education. As Diana mentioned, the platform is free for now. And it will be free up until June of this year. So I'd encourage everyone to sign up, start using it. We have single sign-on. You can get going in seconds, and you and your students or whomever you want to introduce this to. But we will start charging in June. And one of the reasons signing up now is preferred or good for you is a couple of things. Well, number one is you will be receiving our monthly newsletter. So you'll just be staying informed on our latest announcements and on the timing of certain things as they're coming out. We are very prolific in pushing out new features. We won't flood your inboxes with crazy emails. It's once a month. But we will make the announcements of when, what's been published, what's coming, etc. The other reason to sign up is, you get to use the platform for free, unlimited use, and get to experience it. But you also get to watch us launch new features and tools along the way. And you can even give us feedback and tell us what's important to you and how we can make it better for you. So we have a really exciting roadmap of new features that are coming over the next several months and even throughout the year. But really the next several months, we are particularly excited about the stuff we're going to be launching. We have a one-of-a-kind misinformation toolkit that's going to be made available to you. We have a current news feature coming. This will allow you to use our platform without even needing to run a search. You can just scroll the latest headlines. We have a mobile app coming, and we have really exciting new designs coming just to enhance the overall user experience. So important to kind of get involved now and check it out as we're building it. When we launch the pricing, our goal is to make this affordable and accessible to every student and teacher, right? We don't want this to be a tool that's only available to certain students, AP students, high school students only. Obviously, it's up to discretion of the purchaser who they want to buy the licenses for, but our goal is to make it affordable. And we're going to have volume-based discounted pricing. And like I said, we will be, maybe I didn't mention, we will be publishing our pricing. We're going to be fully transparent on it by March 1st. So if you go to our website, the public website, you can actually go and check out what the pricing looks like for one user, 10, 1,000, etc. And so the price per user goes down as that number goes up. The number of users goes up. And last thing I'll say before we jump into the demo is the student data privacy. We've built this platform. Everything about this platform and about us as a company is based on trust and transparency. And we operate the platform and user data privacy in a very similar fashion. There is not any student data privacy agreements that we've seen that we can't meet. Just because we do not collect any personal information beyond what we need to run a safe, secure, enjoyable platform. So for example, we don't collect first names, last names, phone numbers, grades, gender, demographic, any of that. We collect the bare minimum. We don't share or sell any data to third parties. No third party collects data on our site. We anonymize all of our usage analytics. So as we just kind of monitor usage on our platform, we don't know who's who, but it's all anonymized. And lastly, we just don't use your data for any other commercial purposes other than running a great platform for you. Okay, So with that, I am going to pivot into the demo. We're going to run through just some high level, like how to use it, what are some of the main features, and then we'll pivot to Q&A. All right, so what we're looking at here is this is the initial search page. So I just logged in, maybe for the first time using single sign-on, takes 5 seconds, boom, I'm here. This is the initial search page. As you can see, we have the search bar, and then we also have this feature, this quick search feature. And maybe if any of these topics are of interest to you, you can go ahead and click on them. We actually designed some of this for speech and debate students. So if you have any speech and debate students in your school or district, this is a phenomenal platform for them. Yeah, and you can refresh new quick search categories here. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to run a search that might be of interest to you guys. Let's do social media mental health concerns. And I'm going to use this recency feature over here. And I'm going to say last 2 years. So I want my search results to just come from content that's been published in the last 2 years. Okay, this is the main search results page. All right, and as you can tell, it's a little different than what you might be used to. And what we've done is we've organized your search results by the type of source that published it, okay, what we call categories. So here, this is the way I've organized my layout, but this is customizable. Maybe you want to organize yours a little differently. We have periodicals and specialty news, think tanks, global news, academia and scholarly resources, U.S. government, intergovernmental organizations. So this is like the IMF, World Bank, UN, etc. And then we have our catch-all category called other selected sources. Now, this is a catch-all because it includes sources that don't really fit neatly into one of the other 6 categories, right? So we can see here it's like McKinsey, which is a consulting firm, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, Amnesty International. We have trade associations, financial institutions, et cetera. So it's a variety of really high quality information. So that's the general layout. As you can tell, it is based on your screen size, on mine. I can see a couple dozen search results, all from high quality sources, immediately actionable stuff, right? There's no ads, there's no sponsored content, there's no dubious content. It's great information that I can get started consuming immediately if I'm, a student or a teacher. Now, if you want to see more search results, you can scroll to the right, like I'm doing here, right? And that's going to feed in more search results. Or you can click on the category name, and I'm just going to scroll down to academia and scholarly resources. You can click any category name. I'm going to click this one, and now what it's going to do is it's going to open up that one category in a new page, right? And this is how I prefer to scroll search results. So now I can just scroll down, right? And I can see the search results this way. As you can tell, this category isn't just universities and their research centers, but it actually includes online research repositories like Springer Nature, National Library of Medicine, and many others. So it's a really rich source of all types of academic research. The one thing I want to point out that's unique to this category, and again, this is why I chose this, is you see this little drop down here. When I click the drop down, you can see there are 6 selections. One is the default. That's what we're currently looking at, the default web search results. But these other 5, this gives you the ability to directly search these specific online research repositories. So if you're really looking for peer-reviewed, open access content, you can go to this one here, PLUS, which stands for the Public Library of Science. So I'm going to click that. And now you can see all my search results are just from this one database. And it's all open access and it's all peer reviewed. I'm going to click on the search result and it just opens up to the website. So now I can see this research report, I can download the PDF, etc. So
Can I ask a quick question, Jeff?
Oh yeah, please.
Or clarification, because you just said it's open access. You mean it's open and accessible to the people who are going there, but it's not always just open access information, correct?
No, it's open access to everyone. So you could jump on your computer right now, go to plus.org,
Okay.
and read it. Yeah. What's
That one is
interesting?
yes, but not all of your resources are, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not all. So right
Okay.
now with Core, Semantic Scholar, Archive, and Plus, they are all open access. So anyone
Okay.
can read.
Thank you.
Yep. Springer Nature is about half is open access, but it's all peer reviewed. So, you know, and sometimes it's hit or miss, right? So if I click on Springer Nature, and I get, you know, these search results, I'm going to click on this first one, and this one's open access. So I can download the PDF, I can see the whole thing. So, you know, it's a little bit hit or miss. However, the good news is we are reaching out and eventually going to be working with all of these publishers so that our users get access to everything that normally sits behind a paywall, similar to what we're doing with the news organizations. Yeah, so this is a really unique feature here, and it allows you to just do a variety of you know, looking for content in a variety of different places without leaving our website. It's a one of a kind feature. Okay, so that is high level how to run a search. All right. Now let's look at some of these icons here that you may have seen. I'm looking at the think tank category, and I'm just going to scroll to the right a little bit because I think we're going to run into yeah, good. Okay. So Cato Institute. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to point this one out. So I click the top portion of that result, and you see this info pop up. And now what this does is this tells you what some of these icons are. And as Diana mentioned earlier in the call, you know, we have this transparency feature, so you understand the quality of the content that you're consuming. Yeah, I keep looking to the right because I moved, but you know, I want to look at you guys. And anyways, it was on my other screen. So info pop up. Now you can see what these ratings mean and how they're valuable to you and your students. The first one is NewsGuard. Okay, so these are all third parties that we've partnered with to provide their data to you. NewsGuard rates the journalistic integrity of tens of thousands of news and information sources online across the world in multiple different languages. And they score each organization based on these 9 journalistic metrics. 5 related to credibility, and you can see them here. 4 related to transparency, and then they compile a score. And so you can see those scores on our platform, so you understand what is the credibility and reliability of the source, right? 100 is a perfect score, and our cutoff is 60. So nothing on our platform will ever have a score below 60. If it does sink below 60, we remove it. But it's also really helpful because, you know, you guys as teachers and librarians, you know, you're constantly telling your students, hey, make sure it's a reliable source, make sure it's a credible source. Well, what does that mean? Like, how are they going to know, right? This is one excellent tool to help guide them in identifying the elements of a source that they should be on the lookout for. And then this is all hyperlinked. So if you want to read more about this, you can click on this and it's going to send me to the NewsGuard website. And now I can read the deep diligence that they have done on this particular organization, right? So it's really insightful. It equips the students, you know, with the tools, right? Because they're not always going to be on our platform. They're not always going to have a NewsGuard rating. So it really helps them in that, you know, digital literacy enhancement. The other label is the all sides media bias rating. This is a great complement to the NewsGuard. All Sides has developed a 5-point scale that goes from left, center, lean right, right. And this has to do with the bias of the source, okay? And so it complements the NewsGuard rating in the sense that the All Sides doesn't talk about journalistic integrity. It talks about the bias and the ideology and the types of topics that the source will tend to support, all right? And so we can see here that All Sides has rated Cato lean right. And if you want to learn more about, okay, what does that mean? Well, you can click on the lean right and it will bring you to the all sides site. And you can read for yourself, like, what does that actually mean? And so it puts into context, when people talk about left, right, center, what does that actually mean? Well, that's what this tool is really helpful for. And when you put them together, now you're really informed on the quality of the content, the bias of the content. And so as you're doing your search and your research, you can look for that balance, right? And then the last one here, Charity Navigator. This is a unique data point. Some of you may already be familiar with Charity Navigator. It's, if you're going to donate money to a homeless shelter or earthquake victims, this is a great source to understand if that, the organization you're donating to is going to use your money effectively. But what's interesting for our purposes is that a lot of our think tanks and some of our news organizations, but mostly our think tanks, are 501c3 nonprofits. They solicit donations and therefore they garner a Charity Navigator. And so we apply that as well when we have it. And this data point gives you insight into the accountability and transparency of the management, of the leadership. It has nothing to do with the quality of the information or the bias. It's just, hey, are they transparent in their financials and in their leadership, and are they accountable for the way they run their organization? So we think that's another valuable data point to add, but we don't have it for all of our sources. Okay, so those are the key transparency features. Now I will quickly want to just talk through some of the productivity features. All right. So let's say I'm doing research on this topic, social media and mental health. And I want to save this article here from the conversation. I want to save it for, my collections, my research. I'm going to click the bookmark icon here. And then you get a pop-up that says, okay, what folder do you want to save it into? So I'm going to go to my social media folder. I'm going to click that. Great. Hit save. Okay. And now I've just been told it's saved for that collection. You can see the bookmark icons turn blue. Now let's go into bookmarks. And it's up here on the top right. It just opens up all my collections. So now you can see on the left-hand side, these are all my folders or my collections. Here's my social media folder. I'm going to click on that. And here's the article that I just saved, the conversation. Okay. So we have a couple of tools over here that can enhance your productivity. One is we have an article summarizer. So if I click this, what it will do is generally, not always, produce a AI generated summary of the model. We own the data pipeline, so your data is always safe. We don't send it off to ChatGPT or anything to produce the article summary. That one didn't work. Sometimes we can't do it if the article is sitting behind a paywall, or if some of the code on the publisher side is a bit tricky. But as you can see, I just did it here from this PBS article, so it's pretty quick when it works. The next thing is the citation generator. So I'm going to click the citation generator and voila, automatically generates a citation. I can select my style here. If I'm happy with the information, then I can click generate. And here's my citation. I can copy it or I can just save it. And now you can see my citation saved. We have a note-taking feature. So if I want to add a note to that particular article. And then lastly, we have a collaboration feature. So if you want to share, let's say Diana and I are doing a research project together and we want to share our documents in the same folder, I just come up here, I click the share button, I type in an email address and I hit share. And then she will immediately get a version of this folder within her collections as well, and vice versa. So we're sharing out of the same collection. If you want to see who you're sharing with, you can click on the user list. You can remove yourself, you can remove the other person. This allows you to just maintain a little bit of control in case maybe you invited someone who didn't intend, or that person drops out of the group or what have you. And the last thing I want to point out is this add external. This allows you to add content that you didn't find on our platform, right? So let's say the teacher emails or suggests, hey, I want you guys to incorporate this article in your research, right? You don't have to go find it on our platform. You can just copy paste the hyperlink in here, fill in the information, hit save, and that article will be bookmarked here in this collection. Okay, last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Q&A. I want to talk about info diet. So the info diet is a really interesting feature. This is similar to search history, okay? But we're looking at it from a content perspective. What does your information diet look like, right? Because information is stuff we consume, right? Mentally. So you can look at it 3 different ways. Number one, the default is just an alphabetical listing of all the sources you've clicked on. Or you can do, you can sort it largest to smallest. So you can just see, hey, you know, what sources do I read the most of? I can also look at it from the source category. So this is looking at it from the way we categorize it, right? Is it academia? Is it global news? Is it periodical? Is it government, et cetera? So you can look at the balance of your diet from that perspective. And then lastly, what is the media bias rating of the content you're consuming? Right? You can look at your profile and say, wow, look, I tend to read mostly lean left, but quite a bit of center, and then lean right, far right, and et cetera. We also have, you know, a lot of sources aren't rated. And so that metric is over here on the side, just to let you know, hey, look, not everything you're consuming even has a rating. So we have that metric as well. And then if you want to get back to the main the initial search page, just click the logo on the top left, boom, you come back here and you're ready to start over. All right, I'm gonna hit pause and open it up for a Q&A. Wow, the demo was that good.
I've asked you so many questions. I'm wondering anyone else. So Josie's asking, would this show up as an app or just as the main search page?
So this is it is web based right now. So it is, you know, Sooth.fyi is the homepage, and then when you log in, you go to the app portion. But it's all web based, right? I mean, my browser, it's all web based. So students can access it. You know, some schools, districts, states, they, you know, you have a software approval process, and if that's the case, you might need to have a you know, get approval to get this whitelisted for your students. You know, and that's a process we've gone through already. No problems. Again, getting back to the whole kind of student data privacy piece is never an issue for us. So you might need us to get whitelisted. But hopefully that's not a you know, a big lift. And then once we are, then, you know, you can access it anywhere. It's optimized for desktop, laptop, tablets. We have a mobile app coming out in the next few months. So by, you know, let's call it summertime, we will have a companion mobile app as well, and that will be optimized for phones, right? It'll be the same user account. It'll be a seamless experience, but specifically designed for mobile.
Oh, good question. She's also asking, can you use it for general searches? Like if you wanted to search for a phone number of a business?
No.
No, you can't just type in.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is the interesting kind of, there's a fuzzy boundary, right? When you think of, you know, you saw some of our sources that we have included in our search index, right? There are thousands of them, right? Academia, government, think tanks, news, periodicals, consultants, you know, intergovernmental organizations. There's a really broad swath of high quality publishers. What's interesting is that, you know, we created a word cloud to try to identify like what's our bullseye when it comes to topics. And it's really broad. Like it's everything that you would consider sort of topics that shape society, right? Whether it's politics and current events, or it's trade, business, finance, international relations, technology, science, clean energy, et cetera, et cetera. But there is a very fuzzy boundary that is quite surprising in terms of, like, you can run a search, if and just get some, you can be surprised at what kind of information you can pull up. I'm not, it's not dubious, it's not inappropriate. It's just, oh, wow, you can pull up sports scores, or, you can look up sports scores, or you can look up SEC filings, and you can look up all sorts of, things that you wouldn't necessarily, assume. But when it comes to anything on the commercial side, right, like a business address of a business, or you want to go shopping, or you want to book some travel, or you just want to explore the internet in some sort of way, recipes, right, hobbies, it's going to be very limited in that sense. But that's the trade-off, right? That's the trade-off we have to make as a vertical search engine, where, what defines the boundary is fuzzy, and we're not trying to draw a hard line, but at the same time, on that user experience, you're going to have to get a feel for it. It's really anything appropriate for business, work, school is going to be probably bullseye. But once you start getting into other types of topics, don't use it.
So if I'm thinking about this, it would be more like published pieces of information versus just things that might be on someone's website, like their business information.
Someone's website. So think like you're not going to get anything from a website if it's not on our list of websites.
Gotcha.
Right. And so, like
and that's okay. That's what I was just trying to clarify in layman's terms. That just like a commercial website, my sister's business might not show up. If she had a published article out there in Nature or something, then it might show up.
Oh yeah,
it's more about published content versus a website. So then Josie had another question too about narrowing topics down. What about state-specific information? So getting to smaller, such as homeschooling laws in Iowa.
Yeah. So that would be under U.S. government. Potentially other ones as well, right? But like we can do that, like home schooling laws in Iowa. Okay, so we have the Des Moines. So you can see it actually is pulling up, content in all the categories. We can see there's periodicals and specialty news, think tanks, global
and that
news.
would be great, since one thing I appreciate about this, thinking, because right now our legislation is in session, and people are sometimes wanting to go to get more updated information on bills that they're concerned about. And so I have a feeling that this is where you would want to go for that up-to-date kind of published information about what's happening.
Yeah. And so here we're down.
See those.
Yeah. And so here we're down at U.S. government. And here we have all of these results from, it's kind of a boring name, but the official state website of Iowa. And so, if I click on this, well, it's going to open up a PDF document.
About the Iowa laws for homeschooling. Yep, that's Iowa private instruction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we can see the dates. Before we click, can we see the dates when those were?
I don't see the date here. Sometimes it's not. Sorry.
I'm sorry, because those are websites versus a brand new article, maybe.
Yeah, and also it does depend. Sometimes the way it's formatted on the website side isn't readily available to us. So we sometimes can't pick it up. This drop down, the recency feature is actually quite interesting because this, this will allow you to really zero in on, the specific time frame that you're looking for. But sometimes it can be a little bit of a double-edged sword if that date isn't readily available.
Then you might have to
So
expand and make your net a little bit wider.
yeah. And to be honest, it's one of our things that we've discovered is a little bit of a hack. This is a tangent to your question, but this feature is a little bit of a hack to really explore when you think of the aperture of time, right? And the content that was published over a decade, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, a month. Our aperture opens up, and so the different, that alone, that feature alone really allows you to kind of look at new content, old content, different content from different sources without even changing your query.
Yes. And you even had down to, was it past 24 hours up there? Did I see?
Yeah, past 24 hours, and then you can do custom. Past 24 hours is really fun because this is, again, a tangent, but I used it once where there was an event, there was something that happened at what was it? It was like a town hall meeting in some town in Texas, and it was a small town, and there was a proposal to allow kids to dress up in drag. And it made the headlines, but it only made the headlines in certain conservative circles. And so what I could do is I ran a search, and then I did past 24 hours, and you could see that the only publishers that were running the story were from a certain media outlets, right? It was really important to them, but it wasn't important to anyone else, or vice versa, right? So that 24-hour thing, it can be fun to help really focus on, if something is breaking, you see like, okay, who's even reporting on this? Like, who's got the long cycle, the slow cycle, the less reputable kind of standards. It can be handy in that way.
Yeah, I think it really gets into a different lens of research and discussion about information, where it's coming from, and all of the things that play into it. Josie also wanted to say thanks for answering her questions, that she's really appreciating this.
My pleasure. Thanks, Josie, for the questions. Yeah, so just to recap, pricing will be published in a few weeks on our website. It's going to be value-based or user-based discounted pricing, right? And just to give you guys some rough numbers,
but right now it's free for you to try. You want to try it before you think about buying it, and then go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's free now. Jump on it, and it's, we're constantly pushing out new features and upgrading existing features. Just within the last 3 days, we have radically improved the performance of the citation generator, for example. Within the last month, we have removed a category. I don't know, Diane, if you remember this at all, but we had a user-generated content category. And so we had 8 categories. Now we only have 7. We removed user-generated content simply because of the risk factor, right? It was just unvetted. Really insightful. Some people really valued it, but others saw it as just too much of a risk. And so we kind of agreed and said, we're going to remove it until we can build the admin controls to give the schools the ability to turn it on and off. So we move quickly when we make big decisions. But anyways, for a K-12 user, whether it's a student or a teacher, one user would be $40 per year. 100 users would be $10 per user per year. 1,000 users would be $6 per user per year. And that number continues to go down and down as the user number goes up. We'll publish that in a few weeks. We'll start charging in June. We are aligning the launch of the subscriptions with the launch of our premium news partnerships. So you're going to be able to read a lot more content from premium publishers. so you won't be running into those paywalls. We will have discounted pricing, early bird discounted pricing. So if you sign up before October 1st, you'll get a discount to the list price. And then for those that register for the webinar, I'll circle back with Diana and I'll get you all discount codes to get additional discounts on top of that early bird pricing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing how this continues to grow and to shape some good conversations about information during such an important time in our world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you bet. Thank you. We're super excited for what we're bringing, and we're building this for you guys. So the sooner you get on, the sooner you can give us feedback, tell us how to make it better, and we do it.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone.